What's up, YouTube? This is Hector.
This is Drew.
And we're from Not2NerdyEnt Entertainment. This is episode 16 of our podcast, and as always, we're going to be discussing the games that we worked on the last couple of weeks. The first game we're going to be discussing is Quantum Conundrum, which Drew did. The second game is Amazing Spider-Man, which I did. And as always, we're going to be discussing debatable topics at the end. Debatable?
Debatable topics.
Debatable. Alright, we're leaving that in there.
Yeah, okay. Alright, so...
There's nothing wrong when you say debatable. You're going to be laughing at that.
Okay, alright. I did Quantum Conundrum, YouTube.
I pronounced that right.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you what Quantum Conundrum is about.
Right,
so
cool.
this is the game from former Valve employee and developer of Portal. She,
really? It looked nothing like Portal.
Sure did. So her name's Kim Swift. She was a DigiPen former student, and her final senior project was Nebular Drop, I think it's called, and that's the game that was the premise for Portal. So she actually left Valve to come over and work on Quantum Conundrum, which is kind of like her dream project after Portal. She actually didn't want to work on Portal 2, so that's the reason why she left Valve, supposedly. So basically Quantum Conundrum is similar to Portal, like
very similar.
Very similar to Portal, as it's a mechanic-based puzzle platformer game where you go through different rooms, complete certain objectives, and there's commentary, basically for each level that you do. So in Quantum Conundrum, you play as a 10-year-old nephew of Professor Fitzgerald Quadrangle. Is the name of this guy, and he's a crazy mad scientist. He trapped himself in another dimension using this device called IDS. It's an interdimensional something, whatever.
Which all mad scientists do. They always
trap themselves. Yeah. Interdimensional time. I don't know what that thing is called.
Time
continuum. Something like that. But anyway.
So.
Doc Brown, exactly. So he's basically Doc Brown for the
cool.
Pretty much for the story. So like I said, you go through a quadrangle manner, and you go to these different rooms and you use this IDS device, which gives you 4 different base mechanics of the game. So you got the fluffy dimension. So essentially what that does is it makes everything fluffy. So you'll see throughout the game that
name for it, then.
It basically makes everything lighter. So you got tables that you can now carry, safes, and so forth. Just all these different environmental puzzles. Next one is you get heavy dimension, which is the opposite of fluffy, of course. And this heavy dimension makes everything, like I said, heavy. So you'll
also look like metal too, right?
Makes it like metal. The interesting thing about that is every time you you change these, rather than Portal where you're actually shooting these portals to interact with the environment, this actually changes the environment.
Yeah.
So you'll see, like, if you make the world fluffy, it changes the paintings around
the color, everything.
And so like you'll see him as a regular scientist, and then you make it fluffy, and he turns into a big bunny. And I don't know why they did this, but if you make a heavy dimension, it turns into SMN. So he has like a leather hat and like the chains. And I'm like, why is that the heavy dimension? All right, so I mean that's usually the heavy dimension is mostly used for there's lasers, very similar to Portal, where you gotta lift these safes up and use them to get through the portals. That's mostly what the heavy dimension's for. The next one, third one you get is the slow-mo. So that essentially just slows down time. So you can do different puzzles. And the last one is reverse gravity, which is the most interesting one because this allows you to actually suspend everything in the air. So basically the way it's set up, there's 3 wings. Red, yellow, blue, I believe they are, and it slowly introduces these mechanics throughout the game, and then towards the end it uses all of them together to solve these different puzzles. So based on that, some of the writing in the game, I think it's clever, it's quirky, similar to Portal, but it's just not as good. It's not. There's no Eric Wapow writing the writing for this game, so you can definitely tell the difference in terms of the catchphrases and some of the things that were notable in Portal compared to this game.
I also noticed the way it looks. It doesn't look as polished
absolutely
as Portal.
I think it's like more like a Pixar type of world It's Unreal Engine 3 rather than Source, and I think it's a pretty good looking game, but it's not as polished as Portal. Definitely, like you said, you could tell that this is from a smaller team and they didn't have the resources like Valve does. But I think for what it is, it's pretty good for an Unreal Engine 3 game. It doesn't, similar to like Lollipop Chainsaw, I think it does something different with the engine, rather than looking like your standard Gears of War looking type of game. So. Besides that, you know, the thing with the game is that, you know, like Portal, it gives you very smart visual cues. You know, some of the writing is really good. You know, you get stuck in a puzzle, he'll say, why don't you try doing this? Sometimes you'll have these visual cues so you know what to do in order to solve the puzzle. So you don't really get stumped too much. I think that where you get more stumped, which could be one of the potential problems with the game, which is that the execution of actually doing these puzzles. So you would actually know what to do. The problem would be is actually executing on it, which is exactly the biggest problem in the game.
A lot of puzzles like that. It probably got worse as it got.
It got worse, definitely, and the reason is which makes, you know, Portal such a superior game to this is the simple fact that Portal, it relied more on actual puzzle mechanics to, you know, traverse the environment and, you know, solve the actual puzzle to hit the switch, because that's essentially the way they're set up. They're very similar. You have to hit a switch, reach the switch, and then move on to the next room. Where in this game, the problem with it was it relied too much on first-person platform. So the major complaint for me for the game was that, you know, I knew how to execute things, exactly how to execute them, and I couldn't achieve it because the platform was so bad. Like a lot of times, like especially towards the end, you use the reverse mechanic and the slow to kind of like make a bridge for yourself. And like I noticed right away when I was playing the demo, you had like these floating like couches and floating tables, and even jumping in between them while in like slow motion and everything. The reason you can't see your feet makes it just horrible to try to platform.
Anytime you do platforming, first person platforming, there's always problems. I think that's on platforming. It's always, you gotta sort of see where you're going. When you're trying to jump in there, even like when you're playing Call of Duty, it's kind of weird when you jump up in there, you can't tell where you're landing.
Exactly.
Like that's what it is. You try doing platform in Call of Duty, it's not going to work.
And that's what the major problem. I think this game could have been a lot better if they relied less on the actual platforming and more on the actual mechanics. But I think just the way they designed this game, they want to make it like a platform.
Well,
I don't know.
If they had a switch, do we could switch to third person view when you're jumping?
It could be. I mean, that could be something they could do. Another problem is depending on what platform we're playing, like there's certain advantages. Like if you're playing with keyboard and mouse, the simple fact of trying to switch your different powers is a lot harder, but it might be easier to do the platform. Where I played as controller, it's a lot easier because you have, you know, the 4 different you know, dimensions are mapped to, you know, the left and right trigger and the left and right bumper. So it's a lot easier to switch, but maybe just because it's an analog stick, you know, it might be harder to platform. So there's some trade-off there, depending on what type of way you played it. You know, I played the PC version, so I definitely noticed that. But you know, besides that, I think, you know, it's a really clever game. Like in terms of puzzle design, I just think at the end of the day, like they failed on execution. You know, it's a good length. It's a $15 game. It's about 6 to 8 hours, and that's pretty good for a $15 game. I would love to see them come out with a level editor and have the community create some of these levels. And that way, you know, you could have some type of infinite replay ability with the game. So besides that, I think, you know, I don't think there should be a Quantum Conundrum 2. I think release a level editor, keep it like it is, good try. Kim Swift, go on, move something else. You know, I think just the way that like that mechanic with the platforming, I don't think there's going to be any way, unless they rely more on the same type of things they did in the first one. I don't see how they could overcome that. It'd be very difficult to do that. But I don't know. Besides that, you know, if you get stuck on the game, definitely look at my walkthrough, because I think one of those games that it really does help out if you do get stuck. You know, even just to see how bad I did on some of them might be entertaining to you guys, because I do fail a lot, especially on some of the platforming sections, just because the controls are just not precise. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I definitely highly recommend it. It's by now it should be on PC through Steam, you know, PS3 and
maybe you can catch a huge Steam sale.
Could be. It's pretty cheap already. I mean, I will be showing. They do have some DLC coming out that I did buy with the game for a pretty good price. So I'll be doing that definitely when it comes out. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I definitely recommend it. Go out and get it, especially if it's on sale on Steam.
That's cool.
So you did Amazing Spider-Man, so
and it was amazing. No, it was pretty good. I'm gonna start out saying this is a spoiler alert. So anyone that did not watch the movie yet, don't listen to this. Anyone that didn't play the game yet and wants to play the game or not sure if they're gonna play the game or not, at least watch a walkthrough. The link will be up here. So watch that walkthrough that I did before you listen to this. Basically, this game starts you right out, like right in the beginning, the very beginning, right after the movie. This game came out a week before the movie came out. So I'm not too sure why a company will decide to release a game that's going to give spoilers to the movie before the movie comes out, which I've never seen a game do that. Usually these movie tie-ins they try to give some storyline of the movie.
Yeah, it's usually vague.
It's vague, and they branch out and add different characters and different things, and it's separate from the movie. It's not the same thing. This one straight up was after the movie, and it told like stuff in the game that dealt with the movie, and I'm just like, what is going on right now?
And you actually played this game before you saw the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why like I didn't know. Like I just assumed that's why I'm saying it now, because I sort of figured that it sounded like they're giving away parts of the movie, but I'm like, nah, they wouldn't do that. Till I saw the movie after I played the game, then I realized, oh man, I knew this was going to happen. I knew this was going to happen because they explained it in the game. So, I digress. Like, they did what they did, but let's talk about the game itself. The game itself, the way the game looked, wasn't too bad. It didn't look too graphically bad for a movie time. Like, I really liked the way it looked. It actually looked pretty good as a game. The way it flowed, the way you fight and stuff like that, the combat was very detailed. Like right in the beginning, you're with Gwen, and basically what happens is stuff like Gwen pretty much brings you back to Oscorp Labs, and you're in there, and stuff goes bad, and because she brought him there, the enemies, the villains and stuff, they can sense who he is, who Peter Parker is, and they know that he's Spider-Man. They just sense it. They know he's there, he's Spider-Man, and because she brought him back there, it made them react a certain way, and then they ended up all escaping. And that's what it is. All these villains and all this stuff escapes, and now, like, there's different things, and all these villains and stuff, they create them. You see how Oscorp creates these villains, they create them and all that stuff, and their blood, it's sort of like it's contagious and it affects people. So the whole storyline, the plot line is Spider-Man now has to pretty much destroy the villains and also stop the infection before it spreads throughout the whole city. There's even a scene where it goes from, you see how it says seriously, it's like only the people in the lab are affected. Then the next day there's 100,000 people affected. And it reminded me of Prototype too. Everyone just kept getting infected, stuff like that. Even the city looked like it started slowly changing into that.
So speaking about the city, how does this differ in terms of gameplay compared to the previous type of Spider-Man games that are coming out?
The most recent Spider-Man completely switch up is a linear game. It was a linear Spider-Man.
Yeah.
This game went back to the original Spider-Man 2, where Spider-Man 2 was open world, and this game went that direction, which is what is needed. That's what made Spider-Man great. And a lot of people didn't notice. A lot of people think that when they saw Spider-Man, this new Spider-Man, they saw the mechanics, the quick time, like, oh man, this is, he reacts to stuff, and this looks exactly like Batman Arkham City. Even you said it when you said it, but I reminded Drew and I remind other people, it was like that originally. Spider-Man started this out. And if you think about it, it makes sense. Since when did Batman have something in him to react to someone's punch? Exactly. Spider-Man has the Spidey sense. That's the whole reason why you get the reaction, because he reacts before someone does it. If you flinch, it makes sense to the story. You flinch, he reacts.
Spider sense.
Yeah, it's all spider sense, and like, that's the whole thing. Like that's what makes it, and that's why they use the mechanics, and you could counter, and you could do all this stuff and hit combos.
It is a shame too, because a lot of things, happens like that, where it's like the person who like kind of perfects it gets the credit rather than the originator.
Because they perfected, like, the thing is, they did a really good job the original one, but see, the thing is, it wasn't on this generation systems. That's the thing. It wasn't HE, it wasn't this generation system, therefore everything on the PS2 or whatever doesn't count as perfection. But they did do that first, and I remember playing all over there, and I was like, oh, this is awesome, open world, I could go wherever I want, save people, do side missions, and stuff like that. But the game itself, the way it looks, it looks pretty good. Like, you know, they have a close camera angle. The camera angle bugged out sometimes, some parts of the game. That's one of my biggest complaints, the camera angle. Yeah. I sort of like the way it looked close, but there's certain scenes where you need to back the camera away, and there'll be sometimes where I'm fighting the guy and I do a move and the camera reacts towards the way I did the move, and it's not like Spider-Man is centered in the screen. He's sort of like in an angle, and it's kind of weird what they chose. And some of the missions are repetitive. Yeah. The repetitiveness in the game is, I don't like that part. You know, certain things they could have made different, they chose not to. Like, majority of the time, you're in vents. You're crawling in vents and doing different things inside a vent or air duct. And why? Yeah. You know, why am I doing that constantly? I get it. He's Spider-Man. He's crawling in the vent. But why do I have to do that constantly in the game? You know what I mean? Certain things like that, I didn't like. You know, and like, there's glitches in the game. Yeah. That I'm gonna go to glitches in a second. You're gonna say something though?
I was just gonna say what that baseline mechanic, I forgot what it's called, where you can like tag the environment where Spider-Man's gonna go.
Yeah, web rush.
Web rush.
Yeah, the web rush was pretty cool. I thought that the whole that's something new that they added in this game where you could pick a spot where Spider-Man's gonna go, and when you press the web rush button, you actually see like different highlight positions of yellow Spider-Mans around. If you line up your target with that spot, then you'll go over there. And whatever's in your way, say there's a wall in your way, you'll bounce off a wall in a tricky way to get to that spot that you need to go to. And it's very effective, especially when you're trying to do like a precision hit on an enemy. Later on, the villains, you need to hit a certain spot, their weakness. And by using web rush, you could slow up time and you could do things quicker. And it makes sense to the story of Spider-Man because Spider-Man reacts quicker, just like any spider. They react quicker, and they have the Spidey sense. So it makes a lot of sense why they did it in the game, and it works out. Of course, sometimes it was kind of cheap because I'll do that repetitively and just to beat a certain section because. Another big complaint in the game is that the people with guns, sniper guns, it takes 1 or 2 hits, you're dead. Like, those guys, it's hard. Like, you have to do stealth mode. Like, seriously, you could pick up someone and kill them stealth mode.
So it is very similar to Batman, where it's split up in certain different sections. Like combat sections, then stealth, and is it similar in that fashion?
It's not completely. You could do whichever way you want. Like this one doesn't like affect you like Batman.
Oh, it's not like Batman where like this is a stealth section. You have to do it that way.
It's specifically like you can do stealth. Stealth might be an easier way to beat this. Okay. Or you could do it a crazy way and then everyone's gonna shoot you. But if you do the crazy way, sometimes you might end up dead in a room. Yeah. Like I said, 2 shots are dead sometimes. You know what I mean? But yeah, and like I just like the upgrade system. You upgrade certain ways. Like after a couple points, experience points, you upgrade and you pick different things. Like,
do you think that made a significant change? Like especially like web rush mode, like that allowed you to be able to paint more, right? Paint more sections.
Yeah, it made a huge difference. The web rush, but I think the biggest difference in the game that you need is experience points. So. That's why the upgrade system is important because you're going to need certain upgrades. There's certain moves that you're going to need. Like,
so it unlocks more combo moves?
The upgrade?
Yeah.
No, there's actually specific moves you can pick. Like it's a chart, and you can say, okay, I have enough points. I'm going to go after this one. You upgrade what you want because there's certain things like, for example. In stealth mode, you could carry one person, you tie them up and pick them up, and then you can upgrade and you could tie 2 people up at the same time. Okay, so you can grab 2 guys, soldiers, and you tap them. They're like, "What was that?" And then you sling web on them and you pull them up and tie them on the top of the ceiling.
Right. So it's not just moves; it's other abilities.
It's other abilities. There's stuff like a web hurricane where you go up to someone and you shoot a web hurricane. It's like a hurricane, no, web tornado. I mean, and it does like a tornado web and like it ties all of them up. Like a huge thing. And there's a bunch of different things that...
Is there a cooldown on that, or you can do that at any time you want?
Yeah, you have to... You can't do it constantly. You have to wait a little while, but it's not too much of a wait. It's like a couple seconds. So it's pretty cool, like different things you could do. But like certain enemies, it doesn't affect them. You have to know your enemies.
So they kept the balance.
Yeah. So certain enemies, it won't even affect. If they have huge armor, it's not going to affect them. But if it's like a normal guy with no armor, then it's going to affect them. But besides that, there's plenty of side missions in the game. So you could do the side missions during the game. You could do it at the end of the game in Chapter 13, because that Chapter 13 is Peter and Gwen, and that's pretty much it's open world. You could go finish the game and do everything. But they're pretty repetitive. I showed like the basics that you can save someone and someone that's infected. You have to bring them to a quarantine section where they get healed. That's one mission. Like you swing to wherever they tell you to go to.
Speaking about the swinging, did they nail that or?
Swinging was good.
Yeah.
The swinging, I like the swinging. The thing that I did not like about the swinging was it sort of, alright, like always, all the games, he just slings web to the invisible air. I don't know where he's slinging the web to, but the point is, sometimes the swing, he swings too late because they're trying to make it look like Spider-Man's having fun. Yeah. So he's like, whippy, yeah! Like as you're about to hit a building, then he'll be like, alright, I'll web sling now. Yeah. And like sometimes you try to web sling faster, but it takes too long. And
the funny thing is, I saw about the this might be a good thing or a bad thing depending on what type of control you wanted. I saw someone actually playing with like face cam, the swinging, and they just hold the controller up and you can see them just hitting the button. Yeah. That's all they were doing, just hitting the button. Like there was no like type of control to it. That's just how like intuitive it was. It was just you hit the button. Yeah. It was pretty funny to watch.
You could hit the button and he'll react to it, but the thing is though, like you could hit the button faster. Like you would think that you tap it, every time you tap he's gonna shoot web, but it doesn't do that. Like, you have to wait till he's in motion. Yeah. Swing like a swinging motion. There's a certain time for you to shoot, which is just ridiculous because the older games you could just shoot like
exactly. Like there was no actual precise controls. It was very streamlined.
Right. So that's one thing. That's another thing I didn't like about it. But you could tell some of those stuff, those mechanics, and the way certain people looked, it was rushed. And now I'm going to explain the glitches that you could tell specifically the game was rushed. There's a lot of glitches in the game. Some of them were small glitches, like sometimes Spider-Man, like you couldn't, he'll go through a wall. Like I captured some of that where he fell through a wall or something like that. And those are minor glitches. That happens to people, especially open world. You could expect that.
Yeah, of course.
There's another glitch where there's the building's highlighted. Like you can select stuff when you're looking for a mission, right? You can lock onto a mission on the map, and it'll show you to go there. You lock onto it, and it'll highlight the area where you're supposed to go when you're swinging. And when you went to the building, you couldn't find an entrance to the building. Like there's a glitch, like I'm standing next to the spot, nothing's showing up. So I stepped like literally 2 inches to the right, and all of a sudden it said press A to open the building. Like that stuff like that got me upset because like you have to stand in a certain spot and face a certain direction for it to work. It shouldn't be like that. And you can tell that's partly because they try to rush the game to get it out before the movie came out.
So were there any game-breaking glitches?
And that's exactly my final point that I'm going to make with this game. There are some parts that makes no sense. You gotta understand the open world part where you're swinging around open world, go anywhere. But this is a linear part. This is a boss level that all of a sudden is a part where I was in the sewers and you have to empty out the waters and you're fighting this one creature and I beat it. He spawned like a whole bunch of clones or whatever, and I'm beating them up, and I saw before the glitch happened, there's 4 guys left, and I'm beating up one guy, and I knocked the guy, and I punched another guy, right? And all of a sudden, they knocked into the water, and then the water popped up, and I emptied out the water, and I emptied out the water, all the guys ended up dead, the 4 guys. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, I know there's 2 guys I didn't kill, maybe, and I don't even think I killed the other 2. And then all of a sudden, I realized, I'm like, all right, whatever. Then I'm like, wait, where's the main guy, the boss? Yeah. He disappeared. So I'm running around a circle. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do next? And all of a sudden, I get a trophy or award, achievement that says, deeply sorry. What are you sorry for, game? And then I realized that I'm trying everything. I'm thinking it's a puzzle. Like, I'm supposed to keep emptying the water a certain way to open the door. And I had to stop the video. I apologize. I apologize to fans of YouTube. I'm like, all right, I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to see. I kept saying, I'm pretty sure it's a glitch. It has to be a glitch. I went to go check someone else's walkthrough for the first time. I've never done that before. I checked someone's walkthrough. Took me 2 seconds to realize the person beat him up like I did. As soon as they beat up the final guy, the door opened. Which shows that he fell through the water. Yeah. He fell through the crack and he was down there and somehow he died. And he died. I got the achievement for him dying, but yet nothing happened when I got the cheat and the door didn't open.
Yeah, logic flaw.
So something like that, little things like that. That's a linear level. I can't go anywhere. I'm stuck in that place. I have to beat the boss. That's a linear level. That
they have to start that all over again.
Yeah,
That's
start over again.
That's a big problem.
So that's not good. Luckily, I had a checkpoint not too far away, and I had to start all over from the beginning to find them. But I beat them even quicker than I did before. It took me like a minute 30 seconds to beat them. So. It was really quick, but the thing is, like, those are game-breaking glitches. You know, you can't have that in the game, but they had it because they rushed the game to finish it. And I honestly think the one other thing you could tell that they rushed the game was when the person was talking. When people talk in the game, it was creepy. I hate when someone was like, "So how are you doing?" And they're not even moving their mouth. Like, their mouth was not moving. When it did move, it wasn't lined up. It was just creepy as hell. Like, it just pissed me off because there'll be long cutscenes sometimes, and you're looking at it, and their mouth move their mouth when they're talking, or when they do talk, it's not moving at the same time. That gets me upset. Like, but that once again, it takes time to do that, to line it up with the actor's like movement, like. So they decide not to do that in the game. They just say whenever it moves, it moves. And you know, but besides that, like I was really disappointed because I thought the game was pretty good. And there's small bugs that got me upset the way I died. I died a bunch of times in the game I felt was a children's game, but I died a bunch of times and I felt like it could have been polished more. And like this game could have easily been, like I said, if it was polished, if they put the time that they could have, it could have been a 9. I think it was really that good. The story was that good. Everything was good about it, except for the bugs and stuff like that. So it wasn't as good as it could have been. But it's still a good game to try out. So definitely, you get plenty of hours. I think I was done like 7 hours, something like that.
So you'd say like maybe in terms of like a comic book game or a movie tie-in, it's probably one of the better ones.
Well, it's one of the best movie tie-ins because Batman Arkham City was not a movie tie-in. Like that's what I'm saying. So like if you're gonna say movie tie-in, I think this was the best movie tie-in. I really can't think of too much other ones that were movies. And then they try to make it to the game. I can't see it. So I think this is definitely something for movie time. This is definitely something you should play. So if you're a fan of Spider-Man, definitely play this. But I would wait till you watch the movie. Like I said, watch the movie first and then play the game. So then you could jump into it with the game because it was definitely spoiler when you play the game. So we're gonna jump into our last topic, which is debatable topic. Debatable. See that? Debatable. I said it. And what's the topic, Drew?
All right, so we're going to be talking about digital distribution, and specifically, you know, the last couple of weeks, we've had some major announcements. We've had Gaikai by Sony. They acquired them. That's a cloud gaming-based company. They invested in, they bought. And we had the Ouya.
Ooh, yeah.
This week.
You know who it was invented by, right? Who was it created by?
Yeah, it's created by actually designed by the one laptop per child again?
No, actually, the Kool-Aid Man. Ooh, yeah! Kool-Aid Man, Mr. Kool-Aid, I'm telling you, Mr. Kool-Aid created that system. Okay. Like, ooh, yeah!
So you changed, I'm guessing you changed the Wikipedia page to say that.
Ooh, yeah! Just letting you know.
Okay. So, you know, that's going to be a completely digital
the female is the creator of it.
Yeah.
The female lady is the one she's the one that started.
She's the CEO, and the other one laptop guy and Jambox, whatever. He
helped, but she's the
CEO. Yeah.
She's the main deal.
Yeah.
And, yeah. If it's a she.
No, it's a she. I don't know. That's
if she really is a she. But anyway, that's another debatable topic we're not going to debate right now.
Hector's opinions do not reflect Not Too Nerdy Ent.
Oh no. Alright.
I'll put that disclaimer up for you guys.
I'm just saying, if she is, she is.
So, you know, those are two big milestones, I think, in you know, digital distribution. So what the debate is, which we both actually differ on completely. Is whether or not digital distribution will actually ever come out.
No, it's not on debate, but continue though. You debate what you debate.
Well, that's what the debate is about. I think that not next console that we're going to be completely digital, I think we're gonna have digital and physical, but I think after
the debate that we really had, what he's not stressed right now, the debate is that he thinks that it is going to be just digital. Eventually, it's going to be just digital only. Exactly. I disagree with that.
Exactly.
So that's what the real debate is. Okay. That is it going to be just digital only? Then we're going to get rid of all the hard copies, everything. I disagree. Okay. But go ahead. So go ahead. You start, and I'll.
Since you interrupt me, start. Once you start with
your argument. Go yourself.
All right.
It's all you. It's all you.
Okay. All right. So my reasons for why I think that we're going to go completely digital.
Wait. I'm going to sound effect. All right. Go.
Okay. My first number one reason is publishers. Publishers right now, they want to cut out the middleman, which is retail. So, you know, in one of my videos, if you watched it, specifically for Gaikai, it says that, you know, it breaks down the whole entire, you know, $60 pricing model. And the biggest thing out of that is $15 goes straight to the retailer. Publisher, developers never see that. It goes straight to the retail. So publishers, they want to cut that out. They specifically want that money to go to them. That's profit they're losing out on, as well as used sales. That's another big aspect of it. Used sales, they're losing money because, you know, the GameStop and all these different retailers out there, that's their primary revenue stream. You know, people, you know, sell their used games. They take those used games to buy newer games, right? So that's their whole entire thing. And developers, publishers don't see any of that money, except, you know, the initial, you know, sale of the game. So, my third argument is that I think eventually we're going to get to a point where, you know, broadband speeds and mobile broadband will be, you know, they'll have enough penetration in the U.S. market where this will actually be physically possible for people to either stream games or just completely download them. And then my last argument is, of course, the cost, you know, in terms of developing games as well as consumer costs. Digitally, generally is less expensive in terms of what it costs the consumer and it costs the developer. Whether or not it, you know, it's actually, you know, sending the disc out and so forth and releasing it digitally because it's just a server cost rather than, you know, the distribution that goes along with it. And consumers generally, digital games are less expensive. Whether, you know, you're looking at Steam where it's like $50 generally, or, you know, they generally have sales where you can get games cheaper rather than retail where it's not that way. So that's pretty much my argument. So you can go ahead and counter that.
I'm going to start out with their final argument right there. Just to push two of them together, okay?
Okay, go ahead.
The cost, okay? That makes no sense to me because you're saying that it's going to cost cheaper, right? Mm-hmm. Now, if you're talking about discussing, well, they want $15 out of what, you know, it goes to retailers, stuff like that. Well, if they're going to sell the game cheaper, which they have to because it's a digital copy, how are they going to gain that $15? They're not going to do that because they're losing that anyway because the game's going to be cheaper to begin with. So let's pretend that game's not there. That $15 out, guess what? We already took that out because the game's cheaper. So the fact that they think they're going to make a lot of money off digital copy, it's not going to work like that because you have to sell the digital copy. Now, if you were telling me that you're going to make the digital copy $60 as well, well, there you go. Now you're definitely making more money because you got that $15 instead of giving it to some Joe Smo. Yeah. You're keeping it for yourself. So that's what's one thing. Okay,
so you think regardless of whether or not it's digital or not, it's going to be a $60 price point?
No. I'm saying that's only where they're going to make money off it. Where they're going to make that dramatic money that they think they're going to make. It's only going to be if you have it all in digital form and you totally prevent someone from buying it, they can only download it. So you can only download it, but here you go, $60 still. That's when you're going to make money. Because if you have to decrease the money, because it's digital, which they normally do, it's, you know, say it'll be $45, $40, right?
Yeah.
Around that price range. You're already taking out the retailer and the marketing for the game. So you're taking out the retailer and what it costs for the disc and everything. Let's say it's $20 out of it. Now you're only going to have the $40, which you're going to split up between the publisher and development anyway. So it's going to be the same exact amount. That's what I'm saying. That arrangement where people's like, oh, well, it's going to be cheaper. Yeah, but that doesn't solve the situation. It solves the situation for the consumer. Right. I'm happy it's cheaper. Who the heck do you cares if you're happy it's cheaper or not? That's the part of people that will download it. That's one thing. So that totally defeats the whole purpose of them making it download.
So it defeats the purpose if a game is $50 and rather than paying that extra $10 to the retailer, which they have to mark up the game.
Well,
and that's
we agreed it's not going to be $50. It's either going to be $40
Well,
or $40.
it currently is digital. It is $50.
Well, that's what I'm saying though. But here's the difference though. The reason why digital isn't successful right now, and only successful for one system, and that's PC, where it's really successful.
Right.
The reason why it's successful for PC is because PC is not. You can't get the PC game at Walmart. You can't get a PC game at like certain stores. You don't find PC games, new releases PC games at any store. They make it available for you there. That's one way.
Okay,
but
that's not exactly true, because we still have games that do sell that are in the retail as PC games, like Diablo 3, which do better than digital.
Which is my next point that I'm going to bring up. Another reason why. Because the reason why people keep games is because the reason why, because they want a game that they love, their favorite games, like Diablo 3. The games that people personally love, that they want to hold, that they're going to play all the time. Diablo 3 and other games, right? Like, first of all, I want this game, Diablo 3, I want to keep it forever, like you have right there, right? So that game over there, Diablo 3, you want to keep. Anytime you want to sit down and play it, you can play it. It's something that you physically have, something you have right there next to you, something you can physically.
No, and I understand that, but I think that's more of an opinion rather than a fact.
That's a fact. It's a fact that if you could look by sales numbers, that's a fact. That's not an opinion. That more people
and the fact
buy the physical copy. You just said yourself that why did Diablo 3 people buy it? That's exactly what I'm saying. More people bought the physical copy.
No, but the fact is that physical sales have always gone down, whereas digital sales are going up.
Digital sales, but not digital sales in a game download, because if you look at the fact, they've been offering digital downloads for Xbox and also for PlayStation, and no one's doing it. Even though it's cheaper to download a game that came out on PlayStation, sometimes it goes directly there, and instead people buy the disc itself. Why? Because people choose not to buy that, because they want to keep it. And another problem with Diablo 3, which you mentioned again, we'll go to that topic too. What was a huge problem about Diablo 3?
The server issues,
What happened to server?
They would crash.
Server crashed and people couldn't log in, right? What happened to people who couldn't log in?
They had to wait and
they couldn't play the game.
Yeah, exactly.
So now, what if this happens, which servers crash all the time, which stuff happens all the time, and you're relying on a server and you're relying on someone's internet. Forget about someone's own internet. That's their own problem. That's another subject we'll get to in a second. But for right now, let's talk about a server, a cloud. We're going to rely on someone at the cloud that goes down all the time. You know, PlayStation Network goes down. Xbox Live has been down a couple times. Even when it's not down, they still got to go under maintenance. They still got to go down eventually. So you're telling me you're narrowing it down to whenever they're ready, we can play. It's no longer my choice when I play. When I pay something, I cannot play on my time. I have to play your time.
So you made a good point, and I think the reason why companies are doing this obviously is because of piracy, right? Piracy. That's the main reason why they have this type of system where they need to authenticate games. Similar to Steam, right?
But I'm going to tell you another thing about piracy and stuff. We're going to get to that. That's my final subject. But we're not even there yet. But that's another reason why this will not be a good idea. But right now, another reason, I'm trying to think. Should I go piracy right now? Or should I?
It's your argument. You do whatever you want.
I mean, there's so much to talk about. Like, if you talk about, if you want to talk about, like, the way the physical copy, the way it works right now. If someone buys something, right, they own it, they can have it, they can play it. Because a lot of people out there do not have internet for the kids. There's a lot of the huge market, or little kids and stuff like that. Adults, parents don't even like them going online because people talk trash to say stuff. You know, that's what Nintendo Wii U is still doing that barcode of a password system to activate, because they don't want adults talking to little kids and stuff like that. That's the whole reason why they're doing this stuff, is because parents don't want that interactivity between kids and them. So you're already narrowing it down because you're going to lose interest. And not to mention, majority of the sales are parents buying stuff for their kids. Majority of sales.
Okay, so what is your argument in terms of, say, something that is a digital-only device that is something that is very popular in the younger generation? Say, for example, iTouches by Apple, for example. Something that you see a lot of kids have. iTouches.
And how do you download a game from Apple?
You have to, their parents have to download the game for them.
And how does it go? How do you pay it though? On what?
The parents have to pay for it.
With a credit card. Credit card or a lot of it's by phone bills and stuff like that, right? The phone does it. Phone company is automatically charging your phone company, correct? That's a different thing. How do you have to pay for it online?
Well, you have to put a credit card with a service.
So let me get this straight. You have to put your credit card and all your information onto a server and rely on that issue and let a kid charge that. So it's not going to happen. Because now you're going to have personal information, address, everything to log in every single time, which we know all the time. People steal. People steal people's screen names all the time. People hacking the systems, and you can't even blame PlayStation Network. Everyone blame PlayStation Network for having the worst internet. No. That you cannot blame that. Those people are the same people who brought down Bank of America and a whole bunch of other companies. And you mean to tell me that you're going to put that in the system? It doesn't work like that. It's like a feast to all hackers because every game that they could possibly want is now up in the cloud.
Right. And I agree. I think this is a problem that's not going to go away. But at the end of the day, it's not going to stop companies from going ahead with that route.
It is. I'm telling you right now because here's the thing. The reason why majority of people like the games itself, like to have the physical copy of the game. No matter what they do, they're gonna try to shrink it down, but it's not. They're gonna see how it outweighs. It's gonna outweigh because you cannot. It's gonna be such a huge risk just to do downloads. Because what eventually is gonna happen? Everyone thinks that the console is dying. A lot of people are saying the console is dying. Well, guess what? If you limit the consumer and you don't give them options, then it will die. Because guess what? People are going to say, well, if I can only download on that, why not download on my phone and play games somewhere else? Because I can't get access to the internet on there. I can't do this, I can't do that on my console all the time.
Yeah, but don't you think that, specifically Sony, for example, they're buying a different company so they can release it on different devices to give more options to consumers?
No, I think they're doing it. They're not going to do more devices. They're going to do their own thing. I still do. Everyone said they're going to do more devices. No, they're going to do on their own Sony products. You have a Sony Vial. They're going to try and make it accessible to Sony Vial. They even talked about it's called Sony Mobile. Yeah. All right. That phone thing. They're making it accessible to their cloud, to their stuff, but it's going to be their products. Right. That's why the Ericsson, Xperia Play, everything's going to be accessible to that. And I think that whole Gaikai or whatever, the whole thing it's meant for backwards compatibility for the new system, and also going to be the big seller for the Vita. Right. Because I think they're going to use that huge storage for Vita. That's what it's going to be the selling point for Vita. Sony didn't announce that yet, but mark my words, that's going to be the first thing, their selling point. The next thing they're going to be talking about why you should get a Vita is because you can play all these games that you can normally play on a PS3. It'll be now accessible on the cloud.
So what type of games do you think you're going to be able to play on your Vita, specifically? Just older titles or newer titles?
I think it's going to be new titles too. They're going to find a way to put new titles with that on the Vita. So I think it's going to be all around on that. But I do not think that, I think it's mostly going to be the PSP version because they're going to put all the PSP stuff in the cloud.
So do you think that digital only will work only on portable consoles and not?
Exactly. It's not going to work on there because here's the problem. Here's the reason why. People do not have access to internet all the time. It's sorry to say, even though we live in a world where everyone has internet at their home, no one has the upload speed that they need for this upload or download speed. All right? You may have the download speed. Everyone has the download speed to download the game. But do you know how hard it is to play the game?
Right. But wouldn't it be a lot difficult for them to try to have the strategy on the PlayStation Vita where the mobile access is definitely not there to actually stream the games rather than putting it on their next console?
No, well, I'll give you an example right now. You have a pretty good internet, right?
Right.
All right. You have like about 8 uploads.
Yeah.
Right? And if you remember when we tried live stream on your internet, what happened to your internet?
Yeah, it's not that good.
It's not that good live stream. Yeah. It glitches out. And that's how it's going to be like playing the game. It's going to glitch out.
Right.
Okay?
But that's now.
Different. It doesn't matter if it's now or later. That's the average. Like you're above average. The average is 1. Yeah. You're above average. Years from now, that might be the average, but that's still not good enough. That's why, and don't forget, games are getting more gigabytes than what we have now.
So how would they accomplish streaming games if that type of service is not even on mobile yet? That's how they do it on Vita. How would they be able to stream games to Vita if we're
it's
not...
Wi-Fi, because people know it downgrades. It's not going to be the same quality. It's going to be a downgradable quality, no matter what it is. Just like I play online. I used to play online on Xperia Play. It's a different quality, but you accept it because you know it's your phone. You can't accept looking at 1080p TV and you're telling me that I'm going to be playing it and it's slow, glitchy, and grainy. You can't explain that to consumer, saying that I just paid for something, $50, $60, for it to be on my brand new TV and tell me it's to be glitchy and grainy. You can't do that. Okay. If you're on their phone, you could explain it to them and say, well, it's on your phone. You cannot say that for a TV.
Okay.
And that's a huge difference. You're paying money for something that you have to keep. And let alone a $10 difference. A $10 difference, you're telling me $50, I'm going to pay $50 for something I can't keep, that I can't play whenever I want to play?
Well, you would be able to play it as long as you get access to the server.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though, if you can access the server. If anything happens where you can't go and play anytime you want to play, because you have to type in your password, you got to log in.
What's saying that that game is going to last forever, depending on whether or not you keep the system or not? What if you have an older game and you get a new system that has a backwards compatibility? You won't be able to play their game that way unless you keep the system, right?
No, you could keep the game.
And you'd have to keep the older system.
Yeah,
too,
that's why people collect systems and they collect stuff. That happens a lot. Not to mention people also could burn the game and rip it. They could burn it because they have the actual copy, and it's not illegal because they own the copy. But guess what? It's illegal if you don't have it. Something happens to your copy online, it's illegal because you don't have it anymore.
Right, and just like with any other technology, what happens when that technology breaks? You know, the warranty does go out.
You're forgetting, like, these systems, you could get an original PlayStation. I have a newer PlayStation U.
Right.
You know, I used to have that PlayStation, mine broke.
Right.
I had an 80 gigabyte PlayStation that was backwards compatible, and I could play the other games. But I still have PlayStation and PlayStation
and I know what you're
2.
saying. I'm just saying that eventually it does come to a time when these technologies do die out, and you cannot play these games.
Yeah,
it just comes
tell people that still have the Atari. Tell people that still have other old systems. It doesn't happen like that. That's why people collect things and save it. It's not like that. Eventually, you're saying it's gonna die out, but there's a difference because what we're saying right now is all to be digitalized. The technology that we have for internet-wise, it's not safe to do that. It's just not. It's never gonna be safe like that because you always have people that want the physical copy of something because they cannot rely on a company to save it. That's the way it is. Because I'll point out another thing. When you were playing a game, right? I'm not gonna mention the name of the game. You had to stop playing it. What happened to your game? What happened to the data of your game?
I'm not sure.
It was overwritten, right? You lost the data for the game, correct?
Yeah.
And what happened to the game? You just stopped playing, right?
Right.
You got upset because they lost the data.
Yeah.
Now, how often do you think something like that could happen on the server? Which could happen a lot. You might not lose the game. You might lose the saved data though. Online server, you can lose the saved data. Something that happens all the time.
But when you save a game, you save it locally and you can save it through the cloud. We already have that functionality already on
Xbox. We're not going to have that anymore because it's going to be all digital now. That won't be the same functionality. You won't save it here. You'll save it on the cloud only.
No, it wouldn't. Because if it's only... No, it depends what you're talking about. If you're talking about digital console, like on live, where you just stream the games, then yes. But if you're talking about...
Yeah, that's what we're talking about, digital.
No, I'm talking about a console where you can download the games.
Well, your original argument, too, before we came here, was that it's not going to be a console anymore. It's just going to be straight digitalized into TV. Remember that? So what are you talking about then?
No, I'm talking about a digital-only console where there's no physical copy in the games. Yeah. Whether or not that's where you download the games or whether or not you stream the games, that's depending on what the console is. It might offer both. It might offer just one.
No matter what, I still, like, my final point is I still not saying that we're going to have Blu-ray disc forever or disc. It might be a different shape. It might be a tiny chip. The point is we're going to have something physical for the game that you could control, that you have because of anything. You put it in the game and you could play it. Yeah. That's the whole purpose.
And my argument is that I haven't seen any advances in that type of technology where people are actually investing in it. I'm seeing companies buying cloud streaming. I'm seeing them buy more servers. No,
because like, first of all, that's another thing I didn't even tell you. I don't even think it's legal for them to do that. The game industry, you know that, right?
What is that?
That's called monopoly. That they would not be able to only sell something online. They're going to have to let other people distribute it a certain way because they're going to put a lot of other people out of business.
Well, the thing is, that's something, you know, whereas you can offer it, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, people offer CDs all the time. That doesn't mean that that's the most dominant platform.
No, but I'm saying though, when you say digital only, that would be a form of monopoly, which is also legal. But I'm just saying, like, aside from the legal technology.
Well, I mean, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, it's just a different way that you distribute games.
It's the only way, because then if you take it only digital copy only, people in the stores can't sell it.
No, because essentially, does that mean that every single video game company is going to go this route? I think
No, but you don't understand. If you're saying, you're contradicting yourself. You're saying that it's going to be digital only.
I think eventually, because some companies are going to stick with the physical copy, but some companies are going to keep with the digital, and the ones that stick with the digital are going to overthrow the ones that have the physical copy.
But the thing is, though, you can't do both. Like, what you're saying, it's going to be digital. Then how are you going to say some companies, it doesn't work like that.
No,
if PlayStation,
it does work
Xbox,
like that.
It doesn't. If PlayStation goes one way, the companies have to follow because PlayStation's developed.
All right, so I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. So we'll take the music industry for example, right? Right? We had CDs, right?
Yeah.
Then Apple came out with the iPod, right? And then people were still making Walkmans and CD players, right? But most people have iPods now.
Okay.
And that's what I'm saying, exactly what's going to happen with the gaming industry. Someone's going to come out with a console, just like Oi is coming out with a digital-only console. So, like, either Microsoft or Sony, whoever is going to be the player.
You're saying digital only.
Yeah.
So, can you buy CDs still?
Yeah.
You can. So, is that download only?
Right.
So you can buy CDs.
But eventually CDs are going to go away.
And it might be some other form, though, of carrying it, right? That's what I'm saying. Some other form of carrying it. But it's not, you're saying about streaming and stuff for a video game. It's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. And I already explained, it's not going to happen because of that reason. You have to rely on internet and stuff like that to play music. Right. Now, when you download music, do you have the music, or do you have to rely on internet to do that? Mm-hmm. No, I'm asking a question. Do you have to rely on internet when you listen to music?
No, you download the music. Okay. Yeah.
Do you have to rely on the internet? No.
You have to rely on the music you have to rely on the internet to download the music, yeah.
Well, my point is this, though. For the video games, though. Like, video games is completely different. Like, the whole industry is completely different from the music industry. A completely different route. That's why every time you bring up that argument with the music, it's irrelevant. Music has nothing to do. You're talking about a video game where someone's streaming it to you. Streaming it. The game. It's just not going to work.
Right. But so you do believe that music eventually will get rid of physical media? Or you just think overall everyone will always have physical media, whether it's movies, video games, music, comic books, newspapers? Do you think all this physical stuff?
They still sell records. Yeah. They still sell records. Like, records, they said died how many years ago? Right. They still sell records. I'm dead serious. They still sell records for DJs, so they still sell records.
But no one makes it still. That's what my point is.
No, they make records for DJs. Brand new records. If you go to the stores, actual store, they sell brand new records. Like, straight up records.
Right.
Like, so what do you mean no one makes it? They literally make records still. Like, I'm shocked to hear that, but they do. So for you to say something's going to completely die out, I don't believe that. Like, I do not believe that a video game is going to die out and be all digital. It's not going to happen.
I think so. I think just like the 8-track, it'll go away.
Yeah, but the problem is that you're going to have people see the difference between music and video games. Video games have to be like that. The way video games are moving now, the way people's hand-eye coordination are going, 60 frames per second is a requirement for most games, especially shooter games. If you drop frames, they're going to be pissed. And I'll tell you right now, there's already lag on the internet playing Call of Duty and stuff like that. Right. And you're expecting people to do that 24/7, playing all their games like that? There's no way. People are not, what's going to happen is, you're going to have some people, if they just did digital only, they're going to have a lot of people who are just going to stop playing games in general, or just move on to just more.
And I agree. I agree that's going to happen.
That defeats your whole argument. If that's what happens, if you're losing a huge percentage to that, right? Then you're losing the money that you thought you're going to gain by putting digital in the first place. That's why...
Yeah, but who's saying that they're not going to go somewhere else? Do you think they're going to go to the physical thing, or are they going to move on to different platforms? I mean, it really depends what you're talking about.
No, because you just said, look, let's try to understand what you're saying. Yeah. You just said, I'm going to try to refrain what you just said. Or, like,
okay,
say what you said.
Explain what you think I'm saying.
You just said, this is what you just said. I'm going to say what you just said. I'm going to repeat what you said. Okay. You said that they moved on to a digital copy, that they'll move on digital copy, they're going to sell it to $45, $50. The reason why they're doing this so they can make the money instead of getting it to retailers, correct? Are we agreeing with that?
Yeah, we're agreeing on that. Yeah.
Alright. Now, after that, you also said, what's the next thing you said?
The next thing I said is that, basically, that they're not gonna, they have to get rid of the used game market, basically.
Okay. So now, if you look at it, right, what happens to when the consumer buys a regular game right now?
Well, it depends where they're buying it from. You gotta be more specific.
Well, they buy it from wherever. It doesn't matter anymore.
You talking about retail?
They're buying from retail.
Okay,
they bought $60. Okay? They bought a game. They own the game. They control the game. Right.
Right.
Now they bought the game. $15 of that goes to
the retail.
Yeah. Right. The rest goes. They split it up amongst whatever. Right. Okay. So that's that market right there. So you're trying to cut that $15 out.
Well, they're trying to cut the $15 out as well as the ability for them to sell the game again, which they don't see. Every time they resell the game, right, the retailer only gets the profit.
Which that's another point I forgot to bring up. I'll bring it up in a second.
Okay, sure.
But you're saying so they don't resell whatever. You said that they want the majority of the money, right?
Correct.
Now you're banking on the fact that the same amount of people that bought the other stuff, bought the actual game, are going to go ahead and buy the download. Right? That's what you're banking on.
Right.
But when they see, my point is, the huge factor that when they lose a huge percentage of people, even a small percentage of people, you already decrease the price of the game. Now you're losing percentage of people that normally would have bought the game.
Right.
They're out too, some of it, right? Because you have to admit, you're going to lose percentage. Regardless you like it or not, you're going to lose percentage because you're going to have people that don't have internet. You're going to have people that just don't like the idea. I think it's going to be a huge chunk, but that's debatable too.
Yeah.
But let's say a small chunk. Aren't you left with the same amount, if not less, than what you were before?
I don't think so.
How are you not? You lost people that you had before. You decreased the price of something. You start out now $50 or $45 compared to your $60. Now you have less money to distribute. Now there's even less people. The money goes down from total amount, how much you got. If you look at the amount, you have less to give out to everyone, which means you're in a worse position than you were before. So how do you mean that you don't think it's going to be a decrease?
No,
you just admitted that it's a small. I even think it's going to be a large percent of people you lose, but we're just.
I always think when a game is reduced in price, the sales always go up.
Negative. Negative. The reason why it doesn't go up because it's not a physical copy of something. Here's the thing though. If I don't have access to a game, or I don't want to sit down and let a game download forever, because the games download a while sometimes for people's internet. I am talking for a majority of people, because I have majority of people's internet speed. Okay? The game, the way it downloads, it's going to take a while to play. And so now I have to download every game rather than just go somewhere and just buy the game, you know, where I can just pick up this game, that game, the games I want. I'm going to skip games. I'm going to pick and choose. And now when I pick and choose the game that I seriously want to sit down and download, it's just the way it is. You're going to get less money.
So what's stopping people from just renting games then? If it's a physical copy and we already know how that
people are renting it.
And isn't that what the problem is? That people are renting games, not buying them?
No, people are buying them too though. That's the thing though. Tell this problem to people that buy Call of Duty. Tell that to them. Tell it to League of Legends. Tell the people that buy certain games. And download. League of Legends is different.
League of Legends is digital.
Yeah, I didn't mean that. I meant to say, people bought World of Warcraft too. You know, they bought digital copy, but a lot of people bought the actual copy just to collect it and hang it up.
And I understand that, but I think that's more of something that's something that people like rather than the...
Really? Because there's a lot of people who think they're going to buy the new Ubisoft game that's coming out. People are, they were talking about E3. I can't wait for that game. That game's they're going to buy.
Yeah, of course. Of course, but that's a small percentage of AAA games. Whereas you have a lot of games coming out where they're losing sales because people just rent it.
It brings back to my point, my original point, that I think that they're going to offer it, but it's not going to be just that. That's all I'm saying. I don't disagree that it's going to be there. I am saying that to just have that, it's just not going to happen. You're not going to have them single out one option for a consumer.
And the thing is, why I think this is because I think there's going to be a lot less AAA games that are going to be in the market, and there's going to be more smaller games that are downloadable. And that's why I think we're going in that direction. Because I think that the price points are going to be smaller for these smaller games, and there's going to be a lot less of Call of Duties and your Halos and all these big titles that people are buying it. With other titles, people are just renting because you can just beat them in a weekend or so. So if they want to increase the sales and people stop selling them and renting them, they're going to need some type of way to sell them at a cheaper price point. And digital is the only way they can do that.
They do both. It's good to do. You give consumer options all the time. You don't limit them down. Because when you limit it down, you have to be perfect in what you do, and none of them are going to be perfect for a long time, if ever. And I'm telling you right now, you can never rely on any server. The more people that play online, because now, on top, here's another scenario that you didn't even think of, that on top of someone have to play let's say they're just playing the story mode, the single player campaign online. You're also going to have other people online playing the multiplayer version of that game, for example. More people are going to be playing online, which could mean servers are going to have to be even bigger, even better, more precise, more maintenance on the servers. It's not going to happen because you're relying on the fact that everything's going to work perfectly. It's not, and it's not. There's so many negatives that are going to come out of it.
Right. So why is it that when we do have an environment out there, the PC environment that we're talking about, Why is it that we have digital and retail for both of them, and the PC is more successful in the digital realm? Why? What's the reason for that?
What do you mean, what's the reason for that?
I
already explained that to you.
Because you can't find the games?
Because you can't buy PC games in actual stores.
Well, why can't you buy PC games in the stores anymore?
That's just, it's been like that forever. If you ever remember PC games, PC has died out a long time ago. And PC, like, they revived it by slowly bringing PC games back, and it still wasn't like that. The only option you have is by downloading it online. It's just the way it is. PC is different though. PC is a completely different thing. You're talking about a console and you're trying to play a PC game. It's just not going to work out like that. PC is a completely different genre, and PC works because you cannot get PC in a store. Every type of store adopted console games. Every store. You go to Walmart, all that stuff.
But no, this is my reason. You're not explaining why. I'll explain why. They don't sell PC games in stores because why? The major reason retailers sell games is because they have these programs where you can resell them, right? You can't resell a PC game. And what I'm saying is that in the future, they're going to have some type of mechanism that you cannot resell physical games. They're going to have it. They're going to put some type of
now that's not the same argument what you're talking about. We're talking about downloading content. Now you're saying they're going to have a mechanism not to We're talking about one subject. Yeah. Change it to different.
But that's the exact reason why they're going digital. The exact reason is because of that whole entire argument where they don't want used game sales. So they're going to find a mechanism to authenticate.
Majority of the sales, okay? Yeah. You look at Walmart, you look at Target, you look at all those side things. When people go shopping, okay? Parents go shopping, kids, stuff like that. Sometimes they just say, fine, you can buy this. You can buy it. And a lot of the sales are bought like that in games. You're not going to have that sale. And you kept saying before that it's a small number of people. No, that's a large number. A lot of people, if you ever go online and listen to people play it, a lot of them are little kids. A lot of them buy physical.
No, I never said it was a small amount. What I'm saying is that physical sales are always going down each year. Every month, you can look at any MPD sales that say physical sales are going down, and they say digital sales are going up. They always say it. And they're not talking about...
But here's the thing, though. How hard is it for a company to offer both to someone? Well, they're offering both right now.
They don't offer both right now. They do not offer day in day digital and retail games.
But I'm saying though, that's where I think it's going. They're going to offer both. They're not going to choose.
They haven't done it yet.
But my point is, you're not. You see right now. You see now. Sometimes they test it out.
Yeah,
Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition came out. You could download it on there, and that whole time it was a popular game. A lot of people bought that game. People bought the game. Why did people buy the game?
People buy the game because it's a fighting game. You play it, locally, and they want to buy it in the stores because they want to own it. They want to own. They want to own exactly what you said. It's true. Yeah, they want to own. They want to buy the collector's editions and all that stuff.
Why don't you think that you're not owning it? What do you mean? I thought you just said digital download. You bought it. You bought it cheaper.
But then again, look at the small percentage for the same exact game on the PC, right? Digital sells more than the physical copies for that game. For Street Fighter 4, it sells more digitally.
First of all, that's another thing. Not a lot of people bought that game on PC.
I know a lot of people don't buy
it. Don't say that people.
But it's true though.
We're on console, right? Yeah. So I relate to console. Now you're changing it back to PC. The console version. Majority of people bought that. Okay. When they had it right there available to them, cheaper, $5 cheaper. Right. People went to go buy it instead of doing $5 cheaper, so they could, like you said, have it and bring it to wherever they want.
Because the thing with me is, my major argument is always the convenience of doing things. Is it more convenient to download a game now than go buy it in the store? No, it's more convenient to buy it in the store now because.
How do you know why?
Because we're not there. We're not there. No. For example, I have fast internet. That doesn't have anything to say about the way it downloads on the PS3. I go buy
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because here's the thing though. If it's convenient, if it's cheaper. You're saying that it's cheaper, it's convenient.
It isn't convenient because even if I buy a physical game, right, and I play it on my PS3, I gotta sit there and wait 40 minutes for the patch. So of course it's gonna be a more horrible experience to download it. The only time something becomes more, whether or not it's affordable or easy to distribute is when it's easier for the customer to buy it. So right now, it's easier for the customer to go to the store and buy it. And I agree with you that completely. I'm saying one day it's going to be easier for people to download.
How's it so?
Because the internet speed is going to get better.
There's not going to be any stores ever left again? All the stores will be gone? There's not going to be stores?
Of course the stores are going to be around.
People are going to walk in the future. They're going to sit down. There's going to have like little little computers walking for them.
Well, you said people are gonna have those Google glasses, right?
Yeah, Google glasses. No, what I'm saying right now is I left the last point, which is gonna be the point that just stops this, and then it's over with.
And then
right
who wins, right?
No, I'm just saying it's over with. I'll let you guys decide who wins. It's over with right after this point right here.
Okay.
The last point is they had a court case, right? When people try to resell, resell a downloaded game. What happened in that court case? Can you explain to me?
So what happened in the court case? This is in Europe, first of all. It's not
it doesn't matter.
Europe, it does matter. It does matter because Europe,
European games, like there's no European games that are dominant right now at all. No companies are dominant from there, so they mean nothing.
Well,
Ubisoft means nothing over there.
No, it's not. It's not that. You got to look at first the industry outside of the U.S. too. You got to realize that console games outside of the U.S. are a lot more expensive than they are in the U.S. So this digital thing is a lot more important to them over there than it is to us, where we have a lot of big players that are going to stop digital distribution. GameStop, for example, and stuff like that.
It's not just the cost over there. It's the fact that they're restricted for certain countries.
Right.
That's all. It's not really the cost as much as restrictions. That's it. Everything costs more in over there. So that's not even a feasible argument because everything costs more. That they're just. That's the way it is. Everything costs more over there. That's just the way it translates to different countries. That's just a price thing. You can't just be like, oh, a TV costs more over there. No shit. Everything costs more over there. So everything's gonna cost more.
But that's why stuff like Steam is a lot more successful over there too. Especially in those type of countries, because it's harder to get physical games over there.
Yeah, but you do realize they have to pay tax stuff, right? The tax pushes it up higher than the cost.
Of course they do, but digital games are a lot cheaper over there than they are in physical games.
It's the same rate, though. That's, if you do the math, like if you literally look at the math and do the math and transfer it to dollars, it's the same rate. That's what I'm trying to say. It's the same rate.
But if you know anything about outside of this country,
I do.
Right? Are console games as popular as PC games outside of this country?
Console games depends what country you're going to, because
all right. So take for example, UK.
Like, that's what I'm saying, because there's different countries. You look at Japan, right?
Yeah.
Like, arcade games are more popular in the other system, not in PC games. Right. Then you look at Korea, PC games. So like, you can't do that. That's just like outside the country. That means.
But that's your argument that they have this outside the country.
Here's the thing: outside the country, they have all systems though. They're not. They have like PC everything in the household. We don't do that stuff. A lot of us pick or choose.
Yeah, and we're more console gamers here than PC games.
Huh? That's because it's cheaper. Americans are cheaper. That's the reason why. That has nothing to do with anything else. Because a good PC game costs more. For that PS3, $300. PC, a good one, decent one, yours $900.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's just the way it is. $300 or $900. You know, by the time I buy a bunch of games, it's gonna cost around. So I might as well.
But let's get back to the point. You're talking about whether or not you can sell used digital games, right? That one you can sell used
digital game, which totally they are shocked it's gonna happen, which legally. It's gonna happen. You own something when you buy it. Legally, there's no way you can say that if you're selling something online, then that means that by every law, it's not just the American law, that's most countries' law, if not all of them.
And I don't think that's gonna happen. It might happen over in Europe because
happen
they're less restrictive with they give more rights to the individual than the corporation.
It's gonna happen.
Where here they give more rights to the corporations than individuals. So corporations are always gonna win when it comes to that type of thing.
It's the same thing though. And now here's the real question. You can look it up. Is it illegal to resell? No. No, I'm just saying though, if you were to tell your copy of a song, and you were to get rid of your song and give it to someone else and sell it to them, is that illegal?
I don't know.
It's not. And here's the thing, when it becomes illegal is if you kept the song, and then you gave it to someone else, and you sold it to them, that's illegal.
Right.
And sharing is also legal like that. That's why Napster and everything got shut down. But it's not legal to do that. Therefore, by them trying to make it restricting the video game, it's illegal.
But I'm confused with your argument. So you're saying no. I just want to clarify it. I can't take a CD. I can't take a CD and sell it to you.
Huh?
I can't take a CD and sell it to you.
You can sell a CD. That's what I'm saying. My point is, we're talking about downloaded songs. I'm trying to relate it to downloaded videos.
Yeah, but you can't do that with any type of media. You can't sell.
Yes, you can. If you get rid of your copy, if you get rid of the original copy and you sell the original copy to someone else, yes, you can. That's not illegal.
Digital
If I have a digital song and I took the song off, put it on an iPod, sell you the song, gave you the song, and I deleted my original one, that's not illegal because there's only one content of that song, and therefore you have the rights to that one content of the song.
So if you, what's the mechanism to how you do this? I don't understand.
What do you mean, how's it do it?
How do you do it? Do you burn
it? Say 99-cent song, right?
Okay, yeah.
Alright? If I gave you a song, doesn't matter if I burn it on the CD, whatever happened to the song, right? I could, whatever. As long as I delete the original song and there's only one copy lying around, you have the copy, then it's legal.
But how do they keep track of the licensing of that? Like when
they can't. But I'm saying if someone were to find out that you had it, it's not illegal. That's why no one can stop you from doing it. That's my point. As long as there's one copy, so no one can stop that. So if someone has a digital copy of something, then you have the right to get it. That's my point.
And this is my point.
I'm related to that.
My point is that there's a license attached to that game. So
doesn't matter. Only one registration for that. So when you register for a game, right? If you register for Windows 7 or whatever, right? You have the right to switch your Windows 7 to a different computer if you get rid of that Windows 7.
Yeah, but most they limit how many computers you can.
Not anymore. Now, they don't do that anymore because it's against the law. That's why Windows got sued. Windows says up to 3 computers at the same time. Or they say it's up to 3 computers at the same time. If anything happens to that computer, you still have the right to put what Windows is there on
two more times though.
Huh?
They limit it.
No, it's not 2 more times in general. It's at the same time 2 computers. I have it and I did multiple times. If you look it up on there, it shows that you have 3 computers or 2 computers, whatever it says there. Some of them say only one computer. It's one computer.
So it's similar to iTunes. Like you can only put the song on 5 different devices. So how if you sell that and someone gets 4 more devices and you still have the song, I don't understand how that works. Like
what? But iTunes works a different way. iTunes is a different device. Well, I'm trying to explain one device. That's what I'm saying in the game. If I were to sell someone my digital copy of a game with my license, I give them to it. I can no longer access with my PlayStation or anything.
Exactly. So that stops used game sales.
It doesn't stop. What are you talking about?
Because if someone uses the license once, you cannot use it again.
No, I'm saying if the license registered to one PlayStation or whatever, you could change it multiple times. That's what they're going to have to do. Because just like what I'm trying to say, they're going to allow it. So if I give it to you, only you can use it from now on. I can't.
Yeah. So, but that's different from physical media where that person can now take it and sell it to someone else.
No, what do you... Alright. Sorry, Utah. Maybe I'm not the only one. Maybe he has to replay it.
Okay, no, I'll explain it very slowly.
I'm going to explain it because you're not...
No, let me explain myself first. Okay, so you have a physical game, right? You buy it once. You buy it once, right?
Yes.
Then you give it to GameStop, right? GameStop can take that and sell it to another consumer, right? That consumer can come back, sell it to GameStop. Then they can sell it back to another consumer. That other consumer can sell it back to GameStop again. All those sales... they're losing money on the publisher, right? What I'm saying is with a PC game, right, there's a license. So someone has a license to the game, right? They cannot access that game after you sell it once. They cannot sell it again.
Okay, right? That's what you're saying.
That's
what I'm saying. This proves that what just happened in the court system, just like every other thing, you're going to have to let them sell it one time. They can sell multiple times, but only one copy of it. So like you just said, a physical copy, let's talk about digital copy. I have a digital copy of Grand Theft Auto 5, right? Yeah. I'm selling you the game. Here you go. Here's my password and everything. Now when you log into it, it's going to realize that only one person there. And if I kept the download copy here, we try to do it at the same time. It's not going to work. Why? Because only one person can log in through that number. So I sold it to you. And it doesn't get rid of the used market because guess what? They didn't get paid for me selling to you. I got paid. And you can sell it to someone else. You can give it to GameStop. Who knows if GameStop's going to do that? I doubt they're going to do it, but I'm saying you give it to GameStop. Either way, that's a used market still, isn't it?
Right, it's a used market, but how are you going to be able to keep accessing the game if all these people have it?
You don't understand. You don't understand the point.
So why would this is what I don't understand. Why would you need the license to activate the game if no matter who you sell it to?
Digital copy. It's 1 pin per that game. Okay? 1 pin per that game. That's it.
So you're saying they're not going to be able to limit?
Each time you go onto the game and they realize they're going to have to do some sort of format from now on. What I'm trying to say is what they're going to have to figure out. I'm not saying the format now. I'm saying they're going to have to figure out a new format.
All right, okay.
But what I'm saying is it's going to be one pin. So, for example, if it realizes that you're logging in through a different internet, it's going to say, please type in your information, whatever, and now you're registered to it. Each time you got to re-register. That's not my point. The point is this proves that they're allowed to sell it. And I'm saying that's also not illegal for every other device. That's why we're there.
All right, so you're talking about... We disagree then. I don't think that's going to happen. You think it's going to happen?
It just proves it in the court, too, on top of it. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, it already is happening, where they have to let them resell the digital copy.
Okay. In Europe, it's happening.
Alright, but I'm just saying, though, because nothing happens in Europe first and it comes to America. There's never been a...
And there's plenty of stuff that's happened in Europe and doesn't happen in America.
I'm just saying that.
We don't have a 35-hour work week. It's not going to come here, so there's laws over there that are different than laws over here. But that's all I'm saying. I don't think it's happening in America.
My point is that what I was trying to relate it to, that law exists now. So that's why I'm trying to relate it to you now.
But like you said before, different media, different type of mechanism.
If you realize, rewind the tape, he flip-flopped back and forth. You just said the whole time, now I'm on your server laying it, and now you're like, well, it's different media, different things.
It's true.
You said like 5 times, well, why do you relate the music industry in the first place? You didn't want to brought that up, right?
Right.
And now all of a sudden, I just use that, for example, mine, like, well, it's different media.
But there doesn't exist that mechanism for you to do that. iTunes does not let you sell your music to other iTunes users.
I'm talking about if you own something MP3, you forgot iTunes the only media. You can download music.
Amazon. I'm talking about the major players in the digital space. None of them allow you to do that. And I think just like that, game companies are not going to allow you to do that. Simple as that.
They're going to allow you to do it. It's by law. You're allowed to sell the music if you own the music. You cannot sell multiple music to other people. If I own one copy, I can't make copies of it and sell copies out.
Yeah.
If I own one copy, I can give you that one, and I have to get rid of mine.
I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't think you're going to be able to give a Steam key to someone else, and once you redeem that key, that you'll be able to take that key and then give it to another Steam user, and then you lose access. I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think the digital thing is going to happen, so it really doesn't make a difference what I'm saying, because it's not going to happen anyway.
I think if that to happen, it would have to happen on the platforms that exist first, right?
I'll tell you now, because how many video game collectors are there out there in YouTube? That's all I want to know. So on the bottom of this video, I want you guys to say what you guys think. Do you think they're going to force you to just use digital copies from now on? Is that what the argument's about?
My argument is that, do you think this console generation, the next console generation...
Why do you just...
I'm not changing my argument.
You just said.
If you look at my video, I said... The next console generation is going to be the last console generation.
I got that. Yeah. What we're arguing, we weren't arguing about it. We started a conversation on one topic saying that eventually it's all going to be digital. Yeah. And now you're changing it on the next one.
No, I'm not changing it.
Then just leave it like that. What's your opinion? Eventually, do you think it's going to be digital? That's it. That's the question. That's it. Not rephrasing it. The next No, we don't talk about next console. We're talking about eventually.
Eventually, yeah. Okay, fine. That's fine. I want to be specific, but...
That is specific. Eventually. Eventually it's specific. It's more specific than after next game.
No, that's more vague. You're saying eventually we're gonna. I'm definitely saying that the next console generation that comes up is gonna be the last one. That's what I'm saying. After that, it's gonna be all digital. And you disagree with that. So I'm saying you disagree with that. So you guys can.
I'm just excited that Ouya is gonna be the first one to test this market out to see how people like download stuff because they're gonna see that. It's only going to work for them because they have $2 downloads and $3 downloads. That's all it's going to be. Now, unless you're saying the game industry is just going to turn into just apps, which that's another argument you think is happening, it's not going to be like
I do. I think that we're going more in the digital realm. I think PC gaming is going to get more popular, mobile games are going to get more popular, and console games are going to get less popular. That's just what I think.
I don't think so. I mean, the only way it's going to be like that, PC games drop down a little bit in price, which they're starting to drop down, but... Tell you right now, it's not
go check out the Steam sales, guys. How you can get
Steam sales. Steam does a lot for you, right? That's what I'm saying. Steam sales. We're a Steam system that they're bringing out. They're bringing this.
I hope so.
Yeah, good. It doesn't matter, but I'll tell you right now.
I think it will matter. I definitely think a Steam console will matter. But
people love Steam so much. It means nothing. It means nothing. It's a great thing, but I'll tell you right now that how many people that actually have Steam have actual games too. Why? Because they have options. If you just have Steam They're not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to lose a lot of people.
There are options, though. There are options out there. If
you're
an EA gamer, you got to use Origin.
All I'm saying is give the person an option. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's all my argument was. Not that it's not going to happen. I'm saying it's going to happen, but they're not going to make it just only one option. Anytime you limit someone to one choice, you lose them. You lose a lot of customers because of that. Right. You don't give them options.
Yeah, you could be right. There may be other choices but I don't think they're going to be around.
Well, agree to disagree. So this is Hector from Not2Nerdy.
This is Drew.
And yeah, I guess we're out. See you too.